Hey, what's up YouTube? This is 24K signing in. I want to do a quick review of Extreme Rules. It was alright, in my opinion. It had its moments. It definitely had its moments. I give it about a 7. Now, the first match was the pre-show match, and actually I missed it. I just saw the highlights. I wasn't too interested in it, and I get it. The WWE is a variety show, and it's good that they have a sense of humor, and, you know, to make the crowd laugh is always a good thing. And I got nothing against El Torito and Hornswoggle. They're both talented, especially El Torito with all the flips he does and all those crazy moves, which is awesome. But I think that even though it was just a pre-show, I think they should give other wrestlers a chance, a push, like Sandow and Ziggler. I mean, a lot of these wrestlers are getting shoved to the side. But anyways, it was just a silly match, and El Torito won. Um, Moving on to the next match, I'm not going to talk too much about that one. The next match was Cesaro against RVD against Jack Swagger. And I thought it was a pretty good match. And I thought it was kind of random how RVD was thrown into the mix. Not exactly last minute because he's been back for a few weeks now, but he doesn't really 100% fit into the storyline just yet. Maybe the storyline needs to develop a little more. I mean, I guess he fit in a little bit because Paul Heyman, he used to be a Paul Heyman guy, and he's not anymore. And Cesaro is Paul Heyman's new guy, and Swagger and Cesaro obviously had a falling out. So, yeah, it was an interesting match. I thought it was a decent match. I was a little surprised that Swagger got pinned that quickly, but it actually turned out to be a good match. And I'm happy that Cesaro won. He deserves this push, and the crowd's getting really behind him. One thing that I find that's interesting, now not for every heel or face, but for a good amount, or at least some, the crowd is getting behind some of these heels, and they're booing the faces. It's kind of like flip-flopped. It's reversed. Cesaro is technically a heel right now, but I could foresee him turning into a face into the future and winning some type of title. He deserves it. He deserves a title shot. Good match. The trash can, aside from the trash can, it wasn't extremely extreme, but the use of the trash can was pretty good. RVD got cut up pretty bad. All right, next match was the Shield and the Shield versus Evolution. I thought that was a good match. I mean, it started off slow, and it looked like an average, everyday Raw match, and it wasn't like horrible, but it wasn't great either. It was like it looked average. But once it started to boil into the crowd, where Triple H, Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose went into the crowd fighting each other, and while Roman Reigns and Batista was in the ring, it got a lot more interesting. And the best moment of the match, perhaps the best moment of the night, in my opinion, was Seth Rollins jumping off the ledge in the crowd and just like completely taking out Triple H and Randy Orton. And that was awesome. That was definitely extreme. And meanwhile, shortly after that, Roman Reigns pins Batista, and that was predictable. And the thing is that even though Reigns got the pin, I think Rollins gained the most from that match because he definitely has a lot of respect from a lot of the wrestlers and the fans, and he's a high flyer. He's a risk taker. That was a very risky move. I mean, even though he wasn't extremely high up, he was up fairly high, and there's no padding where he was. So wow, that was incredible. And the thing is that of course they had Batista get pinned because I heard that Batista isn't going to be there long term, and so they figure since Batista's not going to be there long term, they'll have Batista get pinned while Orton and Triple H still look strong or fairly strong because they're not the ones getting pinned. Think about it to WrestleMania. Think back to WrestleMania. Batista was the one who got pinned against Bryan for Bryan to win the World Heavyweight Championship. So, anyways, the ending of the match ended up being great. Started out slow, but it progressed into a great match. All right, Barrett versus who is Barrett against? Well, I'll skip that one for now. I'm drawing a blank here, but I know Barrett won. Oh yeah, Barrett versus Big E. Okay, so he's another example of a heel getting cheered, and he really engages the crowd and gets the crowd going. Big E, I'm glad he lost. Good wrestler, but he's boring. He doesn't get the crowd going, and maybe it's not 100% his fault because he's not really on the mic that much, but he doesn't really have a gimmick or anything except that he's a big, strong guy, and he's just boring. Boring. So I'm glad Bad News Barrett got the win. He deserves it, and we'll see what happens with that. He won Big E's belt, so that's definitely a good thing. All right, next match. John Cena versus Bray Wyatt. Now it had its moments. It was interesting at times. The thing I didn't like about this match is that they made it look like John Cena was going to win like 20 times. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but come on now. It's like, okay, if they did it a couple times to make him look like he was going to win, fine, whatever. But 20, like 10, 15 times, come on. It's just ridiculous. Even when this guy loses, he wins in some aspects. That's just stupid. You knew going into this that Bray Wyatt was going to win, of course, but still, which was good, and I was happy that he won. But it's just ridiculous to make it look like John Cena is going to win that many times. And the ending of the match was interesting with the kid standing there singing, and that was crazy. And John Cena had this dazed look on his face, and he was creeped out. It was creepy. It definitely was. And I think if there was a time for the WWE to change John Cena's storyline and character, it would be in the near future, in my opinion. I don't think they'll ever do it. I don't think they'll pull the trigger. I think they're reluctant to do it because that's a big risk on their part from a financial standpoint. But I think it would be awesome. Think about it. Bray Wyatt is now using kids to try to turn kids against John Cena. That's basically his whole fan base. So if the Wyatts can at least turn some kids against John Cena, then it's possible that they could change John Cena's storyline. I'm not saying it's likely, but it's possible. It's possible that they could change his character. It's about time because I'm sick and tired of his character. I think we all are. He just comes off as being phony to me. I mean, yeah, okay, he's a great guy out of the ring. I'm not disputing that. I don't know him personally, but with all the Make-A-Wishes and the things he does for the troops, I'm not going to knock a guy for that. That's awesome. That's great what he does. But storyline-wise, inside the ring, he's just flat out boring. Change his storyline. Change his character for once. Come on. Okay. We got Paige versus Tamika. That was an okay match. I mean, it wasn't great. Wasn't bad. I like Paige. I think she has a lot of potential to be a great wrestler. She has a great following behind her. I could see her having the Divas Championship belt for a long time. I don't really have too much to say about the match, but it was a decent match. It was alright. Final match. Cain versus Daniel Bryan. I give the WWE credit for actually doing something a little different here. Now, when the match first started, it looked like a normal match, and it was alright. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. But when they started to go back to stage, I'm like, okay, this is getting a little more interesting. When Cain throws that TV into the water and breaks the TV and damages some cars, that was crazy. That was a crazy scene. It kind of took us back to the old Attitude Era days. Just a teensy bit, just a little bit. But the WWE will never be the Attitude Era again. But still, when they went backstage, that was interesting. And when Daniel Bryan put Cain on that forklift, that was great. And I thought that was hilarious too. And then when he dumped him in the ring, that was awesome as well. And when Cain lit the table on fire, I thought that was awesome. The only thing about that is the camera angle. From the camera angle, you could see in the background that there was a big fire extinguisher. So you knew that they were ready to extinguish it. Like, I wish they hid that a little more. I mean, obviously, of course, when anyone lights a table or something, you're going to have a fire extinguisher close by. That's a given from safety purposes. But I mean, just to give us a little more surprise, I wish that they didn't necessarily focus on it, but you could tell that it was blatantly obvious in the background. There was a fire extinguisher alluding to what was about to happen. But Cain's plan obviously backfired. He was the one thrown into the burning table. It was for Daniel Bryan, and then they quickly sprayed the table on Cain, understandably so. But I think they sprayed Cain a little too much. But whatever, they might have overdone it a little bit. But I guess better safe than sorry. It was still a cool scene. It was a cool ending to the match. Cool ending to Extreme Rules. Again, like I said, I give it about a 7. There were some great moments. Best moment of the night, in my opinion, Seth Rollins jumping off that ledge. And yeah, I thought it was a decent event. They're calling it an event now because more and more cable providers are backing out of the pay-per-views, and they're really pushing the WWE network. But still, technically a pay-per-view event / special event. I don't know. But anyways, let me know what you guys think. If you agree with me, disagree with me. What was your favorite match? Who do you think deserves a push? What match was horrible? Oh, one last thing. I'm not going to even talk about that much. I completely forgot about it, and understandably so. Rusev versus Xavier Woods and R-Truth. Worst match of the night, in my opinion. El Torito versus Hornswoggle was better. I don't know. I mean, that match was pointless in my opinion. Okay, Rusev is a big, strong, powerful guy. Okay, that's all you need to know. He's going to dominate for a couple months, and then he's going to have some bigger pay-per-view event / special event, and he's going to finally lose, and he's going to become irrelevant for a while. That's my prediction on him. All right, so let me know what you guys think. If you agree, disagree, comment in the section below. Feel free to follow me on Twitter. Feel free to subscribe. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.